talk about reading comprehension. This time of year, we get a lot of parents reaching out to us saying, help, my child is really struggling with reading comprehension. They're having tests come home from school with low reading comprehension grades, and their teachers are reaching out saying, hey, your child seems to be struggling with comprehension. So the parents contact us wanting, what else? Tutoring for reading comprehension. Sometimes that's exactly what the doctor ordered, but not always. Let me explain. You can think of reading comprehension as a combination of a child's oral language comprehension abilities and their word recognition skills. Let's talk about each of those parts. Oral language comprehension is your ability to understand anything that you hear. So that could be spoken language like conversation, or it could be a text read aloud to you. If you have good background knowledge, strong vocabulary, good attention and memory, you will be able to comprehend things that you hear read aloud to you or conversation. Word recognition is your ability to decode unknown words and recognize known words quickly and accurately. You can think about this as a multiplication problem. Reading comprehension equals oral language comprehension ability times word recognition skills. If either one of those is zero, so oral language or word recognition is zero, then reading comprehension will be zero because any number times zero equals zero. So let's give an example. You can have a child with excellent oral language comprehension. They talk like a grown-up. They have very sophisticated vocabulary. They can understand almost any text if it's read aloud, even if it's above their grade level. But then when they go to read a simple text, they get stuck because they don't have word recognition skills. And as a result, even though they're very smart and they can comprehend language extremely well, their reading comprehension is poor, or it's below what you would expect. The opposite can be true. A child can have excellent word recognition skills. They can recognize any word put in front of them, but they have poor oral language comprehension abilities. Maybe their vocabulary is weak. Maybe they don't have good background knowledge to help them make educated guesses about characters in the story. And so their reading comprehension is weak, even though they can read the words. So the first thing that we recommend if a child is struggling with reading comprehension is testing to make sure we know why exactly the child is struggling. A lot of times, even though their struggle in the classroom is presenting as a reading comprehension struggle, it's actually a word recognition issue that is blocking their reading comprehension. Now, sometimes it really is an issue with their ability to comprehend language. But as you can imagine, that is very complex. There are lots of parts to comprehending language. There's vocabulary, there's background knowledge, there's your ability to pay attention, there's your ability to remember. So we need to pinpoint exactly where the weakness is so we can make sure that whatever we're doing in academic therapy or tutoring is really going to move the needle for that child. So the first thing I'd recommend if your child is struggling with reading comprehension is to get some diagnostic testing to figure out what exactly is going on. Now, I know when you hear diagnostic testing, that might sound a little scary or maybe overblown if your child is just struggling a little bit, but I guarantee you that can be very easy and pleasurable for the child. It's not a super intense experience if you do that through a place like ReadWrite, and you can get some super helpful information that's going to make sure whatever you do next to support that child, if it's something in school or if it's something outside of school, is really going to help them make measurable progress. And it's going to prevent the problem from getting worse as they get older. A lot of times when kids are younger, because they're just getting exposed to phonics and letters, the main thing that drives their reading comprehension is that word recognition. And the more they improve in their word recognition, the more their reading comprehension improves. But as they get older and they really have that word recognition down, say in about third grade, then what starts to impact their reading comprehension is more their oral language comprehension. So it does kind of change over time. And that can be one reason a kid starts out doing fine with reading, but then starts to struggle as they move forward in school. So, knowing all that, highly recommend getting some thorough testing to figure out what's going on with your child. Beyond that, there are a lot of other things you can do to help your child improve their reading comprehension at home. One is to just really focus on building up their oral language comprehension in a lot of everyday ways. So, this starts very young with conversation and reading aloud to your child. Next time you're out to dinner, try not to get the screens out while you're waiting on your food to come. Just talk to your child and tell them about your day, about things going on in the world. Engage them in conversation. Read aloud to them, starting when they're very young. Children's books have way more sophisticated vocabulary in them than what we use in everyday life. I believe I read in some research that they actually have more sophisticated vocabulary than what a typical college student would encounter. There are some really great, rich words in children's literature. So read aloud to them. Also, help build up their background knowledge by doing fun things with your family. Take advantage of going to museums, especially if there's something your child is interested in, say military history or natural science. Seek out experiences at home or when you travel to help build up that interest and build up their background knowledge in those ways. You don't have to leave home to do that. There are great resources on the internet or on TV, documentaries, and things like that, where nonfiction books, where you can build up their background knowledge. So I hope this video gives you some great practical tips for helping if your child is struggling with reading comprehension. And as always, we would be delighted to help you and your child understand this complex area. Please reach out to us at Read Write Learning Center for any follow-up. Thanks so much for watching.